Hello everybody, Big Beardy back again, and I have been away far too long. It has been a good couple of months since I last posted a video. I have had some serious injuries to my feet which have sort of stopped me from doing the videos. So I just want to first of all say a massive thank you to everyone out there who basically contacted me asking what was up, why I hadn't been posting, if I was alright. So thank you to everyone. Yes, I'm alright. I've had some problems with my feet. If anyone can remember back to my last video, my last Sunday Q&A, I said I had an issue with my foot. That got worse and worse and worse. And I actually had 3 separate issues. If you want to hear what actually happened, I'm going to tell you at the end of the video. So stay tuned in to hear about my massive foot issue. Also, I just want to apologise to everyone because I started a series called Beginner's Guide to Becoming a Courier Driver. I only got 1 episode out before this all started, and I'm going to be carrying that on, so those videos will be coming to you very shortly. One of the reasons I haven't been posting is because anyone who's had chronic pain or like back pain or anything like that knows how difficult it is to sort of concentrate when you're constantly in pain. I do these videos in sort of one long take, and I didn't want to sort of lose my mindset every 2 minutes because I was in pain. So that's why I sort of stopped and backed away from the YouTube. But I'm back now. We're going to do a Q&A today because I've had a lot of time to think. I've had a lot of questions thrown my way since I've been off, and I want to address a lot of these now. So here we go. First off, some people have been asking me how much does it actually cost to get started on the courier exchange. What I'm going to do is after this video I'm going to record a video breaking that down for you. Break it down how much it should cost you to start. So I will answer that question, but I think it's a really good question how much you actually need, so it deserves its own video. So I'll be doing that straight after this video and probably posting it the next day. I've also had a lot of questions from people basically saying, I live in this area, I've got this van, is there a lot of work around? To those people, the answer is I don't know. You know, the way a lot of, not just the courier exchange, but a lot of these apps work is they give you basically like a radar, and they give you all the jobs within that area. So if someone says to me, I live in Manchester, I've got a short wheelbase, is there a lot of work around? I actually won't know. What I do know though is, if you're near a massive population centre, there is going to be lots of work. Manchester, Liverpool, there's always lots of work. Midlands, there's always lots of work. London, obviously. There is always going to be loads of work in those sort of areas. The question for me would be, not necessarily is there a lot of work, but what is the competition to work ratio? I've had people say to me I'm nuts for starting this business up where I live, because I live in North Norfolk. There's not a lot of work around, but there's very little competition. So when the work does pop up, I generally win it. If you live in somewhere like London, there's tons of work, but there's an awful lot of competition. So it swings and roundabouts. If you don't live near a massive population centre, if you live Cornwall, for example, you're going to struggle because there's no cities there, not that I can think of. Like, at least Norfolk has Norwich, and then you've got Yarmouth, which is, you know, is a lot of industry comes out of Yarmouth. So I can't really ask people that answer that individual question. When someone says, I live here, I've got this van, is there lots of work for? I don't actually know. But like I said, if you're near a city, there probably is going to be. So I can't really answer that question like I said, but hopefully that explains it a little bit. I do a video on this. A lot of the questions I'm going to answer today, I've probably done videos on before, so look back. But yeah, there you go. Next one. Loads of people are asking me this. Is it worth starting on the CX now? And what's the date today? It's the 13th? 13th, I think it is today. I might be completely wrong. 13th of July. It might be the 11th. I don't know. Lockdown. I've lost track of days. And I will never say no to anyone. If you want to go for it, go for it. I will back you. I'm never going to tell someone not to do something. What I will say is, it's a lot better than it was. 6 weeks ago, it was dead. The work is coming back there. I can see it pinging. I've been doing a lot of multi-drops. Despite me being in pain and everything, I've been trying to work and been doing multi-drop stuff because that's all there was. And it was like 80% multi-drops, 20% normal stuff. And now it's sort of gone back. So there is more work around. But if you are going to start now, you're still going to struggle. And I think that goes for any time that you start on something new like this. There's lots of competition out there. At the moment, I would say there's too many people on the Courier Exchange for the amount of work. And there has been for a long time. It's hard to win jobs. But you can still make a living. All I'd say now is if you're starting now, it's still not back to where it was pre-lockdown. There's a lot of competition. And you're going to have to work hard. The people that work hard, smart, and do things right will succeed no matter what. So, 6 weeks ago, I would have said, no, don't even go near it. Now, if you want to go for it, go for it. Because it is starting to pick up. But you're going to have to fight like we all are. So, be aware of that. Be prepared. Get all your eggs in order before you start, and so you've got the best opportunity to succeed. Right, next one, and this is a good example of someone I think who is thinking ahead and trying to set himself up for success. I think his name's Steve. I haven't written down the names on the questions. I'm really sorry. I had an awful lot of the same questions, so I didn't bother. But he gave me like it's like quite a good case of how you should set up. I believe he's working on the oil rigs and stuff offshore. It's quieting down. He's looking to change profession potentially. Lives in Aberdeen, and his question was, he lives in Aberdeen. His plan is to get a job down south, tramp for 3-4 days, and then try and get work back or get back. Is that a good idea? Is it a good plan? And also, how does he get rid of the dead miles? First off, great that you've got a plan, and the best way of getting rid of dead miles is tramping when you're out. You know, if you can drop a load off, drive around the corner, sleep the night, wake up the next morning and get on the next job, you're getting rid of an awful lot of dead miles. I think when he comes to the dead miles, he's asking getting down to where most of the work is and getting back. If you're going to live anywhere in Scotland for the CX, Aberdeen is the place. A lot of work goes up to Aberdeen, a lot of work, well, I'm not sure how much actually comes out of it, but compared to the rest of Scotland, a lot more work goes that way. If I was you, I would find a shipper who has regular work going down south. And I would contact them and say, listen, I'm looking for a job that gets me down south every week. You have regular work going that way. Can we make a deal? Or can we get it sorted? Because that way you've built a relationship with someone who's got a regular work going south. It gets you going south to where most of the work is. Then you can tramp for the week or whatever, and then try and get a job back up north. Even if you get a job halfway that pays the petrol for the rest of the way, that will work. Is it a good idea, the plan you put in place? Yes. You're thinking in the right lines. I need to get down there, I need to get rid of the dead miles, and then I need to somehow get back. You're obviously thinking in the right mindset. So I think it's a very viable idea. If I was you, I would try and find, like I said, a shipper that's got regular work going south or regular work going up to Aberdeen. And then you might have to do them a slightly cheaper rate to get the work, but to get that guaranteed work so that you don't have to worry about trips north and south will really help you. But I think that's a great case of someone actually thinking how they're going to run their business, how they're going to run when they're up and going. Having a plan really helps. My first job, generally, at the beginning of my week, is getting a job out of Norfolk. I sort of do the same thing because there's not a lot of work in Norfolk. You're not going to have a lot of little 30, 40 pound pick-up drop. I try and get a job to the Midlands or somewhere where there's a lot more work and you can sort of pick and choose what you're going for. But great question. Next up we have, a lot of people ask what van I have. I have a long wheelbase, just so you know. I have a Ford Transit, long wheelbase, and a lot of people ask, what's the best, is it better to have a smaller van, a bigger van? I would always say the bigger the van, the better, because it gives you more opportunity. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a small van. If that's what you can get and that's what you've got, fantastic. But for me, you know, you can do a short wheelbase van job in a long wheelbase or a Luton. You can't do it the other way around. You can't do a long wheelbase job in a short wheelbase van. That's why I think bigger the van, there is more cost, but there's more opportunity, and that having as much opportunity as possible, especially in this business, really helps. Next up, I had a question from someone, once again forgotten the name. He's looking to get into the business. He's saying, should I buy a new van? This is a tough one for me, because I bought a van with only about 30,000 miles on the clock, the van I've got now, and I've had lots of issues with it. And I know that there are certain vans out there that are just really reliable. When coming to buying a van, I would say it's not necessarily newer is better. It's reliable is better. Getting a really reliable van will really help you out. You know, I've spent an awful lot on getting this van fixed for, clutch, exhaust, all sorts. So having a reliable van is probably better than having a new van. But do your research, look into it. Find out what the best van and most reliable van is for the size you're going for, and I would go for that. It's not necessarily the newest, it's the most reliable. But great question. Let's see what else we've got. Best areas for work. A lot of people ask me, where's the best place? Where do you get a lot of your work from? Where's the best place to be? And like I've already said, it's basically the big population centres. London, there's especially near Heathrow, so the Slough in that area, loads of work comes out of there. Midlands, because you've got Leicester, Northampton, Birmingham, Rugby, which has a load of industry there, Coventry, all that in quite a small area. Get a lot of work out there. Leeds in that area, Bradford, Shipley, there's a good section there to get work out, and Liverpool and Manchester always do well out there. I always do well out of Bristol as well. A lot of people say they don't. I always do. If I'm ever tramping and I'm in Cardiff, I tend to drive to Bristol because I get more work out there. So big population centres, places you're not going to get much work, obviously. Scotland, apart from Aberdeen, not much work comes out of. Norfolk and Suffolk is really tough, but if you're on the south of Suffolk, you're near London, so and you've got like Colchester in that area. Cornwall, nothing. So big population centres where you're going to get most of your work from. Big question here. I have answered this before in another video, but how much can you expect to make profit in a week? A lot of it's to do if you're working smart, if you're pricing your jobs right, if you're doing things right. 600 plus should be your minimum. 600 should be your minimum for a week profit. If you're making less than 600, and bear in mind the hours we generally work, we can pull in a 15-hour day all week sometimes. When you're really got that really good job, and then another really good job pops up. 12. We don't do a 9 to 5, so you're working long hours, but if you're not making more than 600 a week, you're doing something wrong, profit-wise. I would always sort of think, I always aim for like 800 profit a week. That would be brilliant. Some weeks I've made a lot more. Some weeks I've struggled, but I don't think I've ever had a week when I've worked a full week, because I've had a few weeks where I haven't worked full weeks because of either virus or family or whatever it may be. Whenever I've worked a 5-day week, I don't think I've ever made less than 600. No, I don't think I have. So that's the sort of minimum you should be looking at a 5-day week, in my opinion. And this is all my opinion, bear in mind. What vans get the most work? What are the most common jobs that pop up? This is a bit of a red herring, because I think the most common jobs that pop up are actually small van jobs. But if you're in a big van, you can do a small van job. So what van does the most work, gets the most work? You're probably looking at Luton, because it can pick up anything. But generally, small van jobs, I think, are the most common jobs that pop up. Short wheelbase or small van. So bear that in mind. Oh, someone asked a question, and someone asked it. They said, "Is this a silly question?" I don't think it is, because if you don't know, you don't know, and this is the whole point of these videos. Do you load yourself? And the answer is sort of. Depends on the job. Majority of the work we do is business to business. The majority of places you turn up at, a lot of them are big warehouse places. They will forklift it straight onto the back of your van. You get to the other end, it gets forklift off. All you need to do is strap it down, because the load is your responsibility when it's in the van. Some jobs will be a smaller place. They've got, we've got this table. There'll be 2-3 blokes there. Do you mind helping us getting on the van? Generally, if they can load it, I let them load it. And that's not because I'm being lazy. Well, maybe a little bit. But because if they've loaded it the way they want it loaded, and they're happy with it. And it's their product at the end of the day. Then I strap it down. You all right with that? You know, you sort of just say, you okay? Does that look all right to you? It's secure. Everyone's happy. So if they can load it, I let them load it. Some jobs will pop up saying handball jobs. I've had a terrible job where it got forklift onto the back of the van, got to the place, said there'll be some light handballing. And if you don't know what handballing means, it basically means you're taking it off by hand. I got to the other end, light handballing. It wasn't. It was like 23 computer monitors, and they had to go to the 3rd floor, and the elevator wasn't working. And I got there, and I was like, they said, okay, load it up there. I was like, what? So I ended up phoning up and telling the person, you're taking the piss here, basically. I want a bit of extra money. And I did. I got it, but it took me like an hour to unload all those things, and it was a nightmare. And I was sweating my ass off in middle of last year, middle of the summer. So the answer is yes and no, but generally, you know, if it says 2 pallets, it's getting forked onto you're not picking up the pallets. So don't worry too much. And if you are worried, you might be asking the question because you've got an injury, like a back injury or foot injury, like I have at the moment. Ask them. Just phone them up and say, listen, how's it getting loaded and unloaded each end? The shipper will know. They know their customers. So sometimes, should we say? Right. Let's have a look. And I think that's it. I think that's most of the... I've had a lot more questions, but they were sort of the ones that popped up. Very easy, you know. I've done a video on a lot of these things before. So if you're unsure, go and have a look at my videos. I've had a lot of people email me. I just want to apologise to them. I haven't really responded to a lot of people because I can't type for shit. I drive a van for a living. There's a reason why I drive a van for a living. I'm not very good at typing. So if you have asked those questions... asked a question I haven't answered, I've probably done a video on it. Please go back and have a look. That's the end of the Q&A. I'm going to tell you what happened to my feet. I know a lot of you probably aren't interested. Don't worry about it. You can turn it off now. But if you are, here's what happened. Basically, if you remember back, like I said, to a previous video, I said I had a heel problem. It's got a funny name, but basically there's a tendon and something, and runners get it a lot where you get the heel pain. So I had that for about 3 weeks. I was still doing the videos, and then I started doing multi-drops for a couple of different companies. And when I was driving around, I was getting really dehydrated, as you do. Really, we had those few really hot weeks. It was then. And I was drinking Ribena. Now, I didn't realise this, but Ribena is huge in, I think it's called urine acid. And that's a cause of gout. So basically, I got gout in my foot at 34, as I was at the time. I'm 35 now. You know? So basically, I got an extreme case of gout in my foot. And obviously, gout is caused by dehydration and the acid thing I mentioned. I was in agony, absolute agony, and it lasted about 3 weeks. Usually it lasts about 14 days. I had it for about 3.5 weeks. I couldn't work. It was extremely painful. Because of that, I was limping. So I was putting more pressure on my left foot. I got gout on my right foot. I was putting more pressure on my left foot. The gout cleared up literally within 24 hours. The side of my right foot, my left foot was in agony. Couldn't walk. Was probably worse pain than the gout, which was hard to beat because that was extremely painful. Turns out after an x-ray. I've got a CT scan next week. I've got an extra bone in my foot. You can't write that shit. So the extra bone in my foot has slipped or broken or something. I need to have it scanned. Apparently I've got extra bones in both my feet, but this is the one hurt. And it was caused because I was limping. And that's why I haven't done any videos. It's the most pathetic excuse. And it's the stupidest thing. And it's just one of those series of unfortunate events. You know, I got the gout because I was working and dehydrated and there was one issue. The gout caused the next issue. And it's all been a complete cock-up. So that is why I've not been doing the videos. It's been one of the most painful things I've been through. I suffered a really bad back injury a couple of years back. That was bad because that was constant, just nagging pain, and it really was bad. And that was worse than this by far. But this was just really fucking painful. So that's why I haven't been able to do the videos. But I'm back now. I'm in a boot at the moment. One of those big, weird, you sort of look all weird when you're walking them. I've got one of them on just to protect the foot. But I'm back doing the videos. Really just want to say a massive thank you to everyone for listening. Also, I have just started doing, I don't know if many of you know about Twitch. Twitch is for gamers to sort of post their thing. I'm a big gamer. I've just started a Twitch channel. So if you like my videos and you want to just hear me basically shout at a computer game, please follow me on Twitch. The name on there is actually Confused Shrew. One word. That's been my gamer tag for donkey's years. So please go check that out. But if you're not into gaming, don't worry about it. And I hope you like the video. Please like, comment and subscribe. And also press that little bell icon. If it pops up, it will let you know when the next video comes out. I'm going to do that other video straight after this one about how much it actually costs you to get into the industry. Once again, thank you so much for listening, and as always, be safe out there. Have a great day.